Hey, welcome to the Redfin weekly update. And if you are looking for the most up to date real estate housing market data, you came to the right spot because that's what we do every single week. We go over the Redfin weekly update, both nationally and where I work as a real estate agent in central Ohio, here out of Columbus, just outside of Columbus, Ohio. Um, yeah, just a couple of housekeeping things first. So, got a comment from a guy or girl, I don't know who they are. Coors Light 23, and they always contribute, so I appreciate that. I'm going to show a couple of their comments here. Says it would be interesting to know the top 5 states where markets are declining the most. I'm interested in knowing how much those 5 markets are skewing the national numbers a little or a lot. So, Coors Light, you're in luck. So today on the live, I will go over that some of that data. Actually, while you made that comment earlier, and I had a chance to go into a spreadsheet I keep and pull that up online, so I'll be able to share that information and dissect it just a little bit. Um, when you ask the top 5 markets that are declining the most, so I assume you mean the most decline or the largest markets. Not sure which one you're looking for there. So maybe you can respond and let us know. But in any case, yeah, Coors Light is right. It's good to dive into more of just what you're seeing from Redfin or from any other source you're looking for. So there's no doubt it's good to do that research. And so this Redfin information is kind of like, I don't want to call it lowbrow, but it's definitely not detailed, uh, what many, I guess, housing experts would consider detailed. So maybe, it's more important to look at the broader picture, like with Redfin. And then if you have the time, you can dive into some of this other data locally. And Coors Light also makes another important point here. It's important than ever, more now than ever, to drill down through the realty data for the area you are interested in purchasing. A declining county may have a particular zip code bucking the trend and doing better. Right. Real estate's local. I agree 100%. And if you not only drill down to where you are exactly or where you want to buy, but also drill down to the price point and the asset. So, like if you open Zillow, for instance, which a lot of people do, and you look at the real estate data in Zillow and the houses for sale, if you just have everything selected, like townhomes, houses, multifamily, land, manufactured homes, that's not going to give you the picture of what you really need if you're buying a single family house. So make sure you're looking at the right data and the right zip code and the right price point. Okay. And then another comment by Coors Light that I'll put up real quick. The most declines. Thank you. Yeah. So let's and the Coors Light's coming back and saying, I'm guessing Florida and Texas are in the top 5 of the declining states. We'll find out. Honestly, I just pulled it up right before I started the live, so I have like zero idea where they are. It'll be interesting to find out. So I'll go through the Redfin update nationally, Columbus, and then we'll hit. I actually had planned on doing something on investors because I did some research on investor purchases throughout the United States, the how much market share they actually have. But I want to share, I'm going to share that information briefly as well. And then we'll do the dive into the most declining areas. So got a lot going on. All right. Hope I can last that long. All right. Okay. Well, let's get going. Let's do the Redfin update. All right, so housing market update. Rising supply draws in some buyers, even as housing payments soar 10% to an all-time high. Oh, shoot, I forgot this too. My name is Jason Ferrier. I'm with a real estate company called Kiger Realty. You can probably hear my dogs barking right now. That's alive, so that's what happens when the wife and kid come home. Anyway, kid's off of school for spring break. He's off school all the time. They always have some kind of weird break, extended break, in-service days and things. Anyway, I'm lamenting. But yeah, my name is Jason Ferrier, and I'm a real estate agent. I'm an investor here in a small town outside of Columbus, Ohio. And I work just for myself, basically. I'm an agent. I'm a realtor, an evil realtor that's, is much, has a lot of drama going on with it right now with real estate. So it's an interesting profession to be in today. And I've been doing it about 6.5 years now, and helped a lot of people buy, sell real estate, single family houses, multifamily, um, and a lot of first time home buyers, a lot of, uh, you know, uh, folks that maybe inherited houses and they have to get rid of them for some reason. I also invest in a lot of multifamily mainly. I do have a couple single family houses, but they're turn of the century homes that I renovated. So I can sympathize with people when it comes to not having inventory to purchase, especially first time home buyers. It's just it's really, even in Columbus and outside of the Ohio area, it's really depressing, I suppose, if you're a buyer. And even as an agent trying to help these folks buy a house, it's not easy because you want to find them the right house, right? You want to find them a house that they like. And when you can't do that and you can't find anything affordable, it becomes disheartening. And a lot of these folks have uh, down payment money. Uh, Many of them are ready to buy from all aspects of credit, but when it comes to the actual down payment, or I'm sorry, the monthly payment, it's not affordable, and so they can't purchase, and they're competing with a lot of investors. So I was going to talk about some investing stuff today, but anyway, enough of that ramble. Back to the Redfin update. All right. So the typical U.S. housing payment hit an all-time high of $2,721 during the 4 weeks ending March 24th, up 10% from a year earlier. Housing payments are at an all-record high because of 1-2 punch of elevated mortgage rates and rising home prices. Mortgage rates remain elevated near 7%, and the median home sale price is up 5% year over year to roughly $375,000. Just $9,000 shy of June's 2023 record high. Wow. So figured that we would hit an all-time high. I thought that last week simply because the rates have now, the last week they were up past 7%. Now they're actually right underneath 7% at like 6.95 or 6.91 when I checked this morning, 6.91%. So it's unaffordable for a lot of people, and it's now a record high payment in the housing market. And that's, it's again, kind of disheartening, right? It is. Even as a real estate investor wanting values to go up, obviously, you want your investments to go up. I'm also a human, and I'm like, man, this is just not healthy. So I would think if rates can stay at 7 or above 7 for a while, we can slowly build some inventory. We don't need a ton of it all of a sudden, right? You don't want to crash the market necessarily, but you need some normalcy in the market, some balance, right? You just got to have that. You got to have that. So it's disheartening though to see a payment of $2,721. All right, I'll continue here. Many sellers are trying to take advantage of rising prices by listing their home. New listings are up 15%, the biggest increase in nearly 3 years, and the total number of homes for sale is up 6%, the biggest increase in nearly 1 year. So new listings are up 15%. Like everything's up. Pending listings are up, active listings are up, new listings are up, prices are up, mortgage applications are up. Everything is up. So the total number of sales, a total number of homes for sale up 6%. 6%. It's a lot. I mean, it's definitely a good increase. Increased supply is bringing back some demand, which is the main reason price growth remains robust. Okay. Mortgage purchase applications are up 14% from a month ago, and pending home sales are just 1% lower than they were a year ago, the smallest decline since the beginning of the year. So I'm noticing that pending sales are increasing, and they don't show sold homes. They don't show the number of sold homes nationally, but they do in Columbus or in your metro. You can look at the number of sold homes, and I'm seeing those start to increase. So, there, I guess that would indicate there is buying demand out there, right? There is demand for housing, even for purchasing houses. And I know I have, I don't know, a handful of clients right now, maybe 3 clients that I'm like at the 5-yard line with. And we're, getting to the point of closing on some properties. And there are people out there purchasing properties. There are. And, 6 to 7% rates may just be the norm, or 6 to 7.5 or something. That just may be what we have. But comment below, because I'd love to know if you think, rates being in that area are healthy, or do they need to be higher, or no, you're like, no, they need to be lower. Personally, I don't know that they need to be lower, because that'll just increase demand. Of course, demand's already, it seems like it's already, moving ahead now and accelerating. So maybe it just make it more affordable if it was lower rates. All right, let's go to this part. High mortgage rates aren't deterring buyers as much as they were last year. A lot of people want to get in now before prices go up, said Miami Redfin agent Rachel Riva. All of my recent listings have gone under contract in under 10 days, and most of them have received multiple offers. Buyers are lessening the impact of elevated rates in a few ways. Some are making higher down payments to lower their monthly payments, and some are willing to take on a high rate now in hopes of refinancing if and when the rate comes down. There are a few signs of price growth could soften in the coming months. Nearly 6% of home sellers dropped their asking price this week on average, the highest share of any March on record. Months of supply hit its highest level of any since March of 2020, when the onset of the pandemic ground the housing market to a halt, indicating that the market is becoming more balanced. Yeah, so months of supply is up. That's good. It's strange that they say price growth could soften a bit, as nearly 6% of home sellers dropped their asking price this week. So if a home isn't selling, or back up, if you have to drop a price on a house, it means it hasn't sold, right? I mean, that's like logical. So I don't know. I don't know that that's really an indicator. At least it's not for me. I mean, the fact that people are dropping their prices, but homes are selling, the homes that are selling are what the median price is based on. So, when it sells, that's when it's recorded. I don't know. That seems like a strange statement. They've made that a couple times now in the last month, that home prices would soften a bit, maybe. I don't know if they're just trying to get ahead of the fact that they could, or what, but it's a little odd that they keep mentioning that. All right. Anyway, let's go down to, I'm going to skip these things here. Let's do mortgage purchase applications, essentially unchanged from a week earlier, up 14% from a month earlier, down 16% year over year. So they're not up week over week, but they're up month over month. Still down from last year. Redfin Homebuyer Demand Index, up 2% from a month earlier. Down 8% year over year. So more people obviously are starting to look for homes, I suppose, according to Redfin's demand index. Google searches for homes for sale, up 6% from a month earlier, down 5% year over year. So Google searches for homes are up 6%, but they're certainly, obviously not as good as they were last year. Touring activity up 28% from the start of the year. At this time last year, it was up 21% from the start of the year. I suppose that's a difference of 7%. I don't know if that means much. So just on a personal note here, that, definitely activity in, the market is picking up more than it was last year. So it's busier than it was last year. It's nothing like it was a couple years ago, or even, before the pandemic even. So activity is picking up. People are starting to call, want to sell their houses, want to look for houses perhaps. So a lot of those conversations are happening, but I am hearing from some mortgage professionals that mortgage purchase applications are starting to flood in a little more too. I'm going to bring on somebody here in a week or so from the local mortgage company to talk about that. But yeah, it seems like that, people are starting to maybe get used to the 6 to 8% rates, high 6 to, middle 7% rates or whatever. And everybody's situation's different. So a lot of people have a lot of equity. And because they have a lot of equity, they can, make a move. They're willing to take a higher down payment to be able to cash in some of that equity. I think that's definitely happening. And there are people that are just not going to move, period, for a long time because they have a 3% rate and they're like, I'm not going to move. There's just no way. All right. So let's look at some of the leading indicators. Median sale price, $374,500, up 4.6%. Median asking price, $405,000, up 5%. Median monthly mortgage payment, we already talked about that, $2,700. Actually, it'd be a little higher today because they're looking at 687 today. It's 691. It's a record high, as you can see here. Pending sales, 85,000 units. That's down 1%, smallest decline in 2 months. New listings, I thought this was kind of cool. New listings, 92,000 units. That's a 14% increase, biggest increase since June of 2021. Active listings, 807. I haven't seen 800. I haven't seen an 8 handle on this in a while. So the fact that we have 807,000 active listings, not bad. Not bad. 6.3% increase. I mean, not bad. It's just, it's a trend in the right direction, I guess. Is it worse than in last year? I'm sorry. Is it worse than, historically? Yes, obviously. Biggest increase since May 2023. But look at this. Pending sales, 85,000 units. New listings, 92,000 units. So just my stupid math tells me that that's a difference, right? That's a difference of 7,000. So like, is that a gain of 7,000 active listings being added to the market that's going to add to supply versus as soon as stuff comes on the market, it's leaving? So you're not going in the wrong direction. You're building inventory if the pending sales are less than the new listings, right? Months of supply, 3.3. Still really a seller's market until you hit 4. That's some people say 4. I say 5. That's where I draw the line. But if you're, Redfin says 4 to 5 months of supply is a balanced market. Share of homes off the market in 2 weeks, 42%, unchanged there. Median days on market, 40, down 2 days. Houses are moving faster. But my guess is there's more inventory hitting the market that's buyable. It's buyable inventory, something you can actually purchase and move into, even if it requires some work. And because those hit the market and then they leave quickly, I'm thinking, and because there's such a short supply of good houses, when they do hit, they leave quickly. I think that's probably why the days on market is reduced or declining. Shares of homes sold above list price, 26%. Share of homes, the price drop, 5.8%, 1.6% more. I'm sorry, 1.6% more than is that a year-over-year change? So that's a year-over-year increase, right? That's a good one. More people are probably becoming realistic, right? 98.8% average sale to list price ratio. People are basically getting what they're listing their house for. I can tell you the few transactions I've been involved in this year, or a handful of them have been that there really wasn't a big discount, like a couple $1,000. It wasn't like, the house is listed for 400 grand and people are offering 350. I mean, I haven't been involved in those. They're asking for 400 and they're getting 399 or 398 or 400 or 402 even. All right, let's look at where stuff is increasing the most and not increasing the most. Well, it declined in just one metro. So the median sale price declined in just one metro. San Antonio, West Palm Beach, Florida, San Jose, Miami, Detroit, New Brunswick, New Jersey, all up year over year. Some of these are on the list almost all the time, it seems like, especially New Jersey. Every week, New Jersey, New Jersey, New Jersey. San Jose, California, San Francisco, Cincinnati, Anaheim, and Seattle all up the most with pending sales. I mean, look at some of these. San Jose, 25% increase year over year. The agents there are probably happy, right? And so are the title companies and whatnot. San Francisco, same thing. Cincinnati, 11. That's pretty cool. Where are they down the most? Atlanta, Houston, San Antonio, West Palm Beach, Miami. So pending sales increased in roughly half of the metros. New listings declined in just 2 metros. I missed that when I skimmed the article earlier today. Wow. That's pretty neat. Like that means inventory's, at least hopefully building in a lot of metros. That's good for buyers. And it's kind of good for sellers too. It'll make them more realistic. Competition's not bad. Let's look at this. New listings, where exactly? San Jose. Wow, 41% increase in new listings. Sacramento, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Austin, 26%. Wow. So there's an individual that I always watch on YouTube, Jason Walter, and he dissects data he's awesome how he dissects data and does it in a very structured way better than I do. And so I like watching him, and he's out of Sacramento. He's a YouTuber and real estate agent. He also actually is I believe he's a mortgage broker now, a loan officer, a lending officer. And he does editing on YouTube videos as well for me. So my long videos that I just post, not the lives, he does the editing, does a great job. So shout out to Jason in Sacramento. 38% more new listings. He has plenty of inventory for his clients. All right, let's look at the charts. Median sale price year over year. Yep, it just keeps going up, right? People want it to go down. They wish it did. They hope, wish, want, beg for a crash. But we just kind of can see the median price is either going up or it's sticky. And even if it goes down by 5%, let's say it does from here, like it says, all right, we're going to go down 5%, for the end of the year. Now to the end of the year, it's like, all right, well, when you go up 40% in 4 years, you got a long way to go before you crash, right? And a lot has to happen. So I don't know that this is ever going to, melt down the way people want it to. Asking price keeps going up. Look at that. 5.1% up. It's just nuts. I don't know. Could be more expensive houses hitting the market. That could be, people finally deciding to sell their house who have a ton of equity. People could just be asking too much for the houses, I guess. Could be a lot of luxury houses hitting the market. There's a variety of reasons there. Home buyer housing payments, unreal. Just stupid, right? Huh. Pending sales. 1.1% down year over year, but it's going it's going up. Well, come on. I mean, give it to me, right? It's going up. I'm an agent, so I have to look at it like with rosy glasses on, obviously. But honestly, it is going up. And if you're a good agent, it doesn't matter. Like you're not affected by the swings in the market as much. If you're good, and you have a good pipeline of clients and, a good marketing program and you spend time, networking and finding new customers and building new relationships and helping people and focus on your job of helping people buy and sell real estate, pending sales don't really affect you that much. So people are still quitting. A lot of agents I hear quitting. My dog's over here yawning and whining. She keeps distracting me. All right. New listings up. I mean, up and away. I mean, look at 2000 and what is that? 2023. Way more than 2023, but now we're starting to approach 22 and 21. Active listings, not straight up. So I know they're not gauged the same, or, we're not talking about the same volume. So it's not apples and apples, but you see new listings going like this and active listings going like that. So they're both going up. And I think there is enough demand that's going to keep gobbling up a lot of the active listings that come on that are good. And that's great. We need that. We need more transactions and people having choices. Months of supply on market, 3.3 months. It's headed down though. That's interesting. Again, that tells me people that there is demand there. People are buying as stuff hits the market. 42% of pending sales under contract within 2 weeks. Homes sold in a median of 40 days. That's going down as it usually does this time of year, but it's less than it was last year. Still a lot more than it was 2 years before that. 5.8% of listings had price drops. This is like going, whoa, way up, right? Compared to last year. I think that's an inventory thing as well. I think there's just more houses hitting the market. Pricing a home isn't easy. Don't let anybody tell you it's simple. Now, well, how about this? It's simple, but it just takes a process and some experience and, some tools. That's really and data. So it's not a complicated process by any means. But it's not something that you just do from, going on Zillow or looking at what your neighbor sold their house for. So maybe people aren't pricing their home right. Maybe agents are too greedy. I don't know. There's nothing. I mean, in a normal market, nothing worse than pricing your home too high, because it will sit and people will just take, jabs at it. Oh, this person's been on the market 60 days. They've had one price drop. I'm just going to make a low ball offer. But if you price it at the market level or where it should be priced, you're more apt to get a higher price and close at a price that makes sense for you and that you want versus being just too greedy, right? And that goes for agents too. Redfin Home Buyer Demand Index. This is that goofy index they have. I don't know if how much stock I put into it, but I guess it's going up for whatever that means. So yeah, a lot of good signs. I mean, new listings are up, pending listings are up, prices are up. Mortgage applications are up, and then we have more inventory. So that's good. It's like the market's starting to, I would call it like get unstuck. It's almost like a garbage disposal that's stuck, and now it's starting to free itself and spin, right? So that's good. We need that kind of movement. All right, let's go to Columbus next. All right, so you can come to Redfin anytime you want and download this data and look at it. So I'm actually in the metro section now, and I'll do Columbus. All right, let's start with median sale price. So median sale price in Columbus, it actually dipped by $1,000 to $325,000 from $326 a week ago. Still up 5% year over year. So much like the narrative on the national side, prices are still up in Columbus. But here's what is interesting about Columbus. So new listings, when I look at the new listings for the market, we're up 10% nationally. No, I'm sorry, 10% in Columbus, but 14% nationally. So Columbus has added 10% more new listings over the last 4 weeks than last year, but nationally we're up more than that, 14%. So Columbus isn't building as much inventory as others are. So like active listings, I mean, we're 3.52% more active listings in Columbus than we were last year. And nationally, that number is 6.3%. So we have, there's definitely a difference. There's a different narrative there, not with pricing. Pricing's up about the same, but inventory is not up like it is in other areas. And if I go to pending sales, pending sales is now rising. We're up 5.7% in pending sales, but nationally we are down, I believe, 1% still in pending sales nationally. So in Columbus, there's some more movement, because as soon as those houses go on, they're good. They're getting gobbled up. I mean, you can tell that the market is active here. And a lot of that has to do with the Intel project and the technology that's coming to the area. Technology companies, not that haven't been here already, but by no means is this San Jose, California, but it's For us here, it's a big deal, right? I mean, I was at the Intel site this week, and it's about 10 minutes from here is where the Intel project, the new chip factory is being built. And it's like the largest. I've been to a lot of job sites in my life, a lot of construction jobs, but this project is just massive. I mean, it looks like they're constructing a Death Star. That's what it looks like. It's just the biggest thing in the world. And it was all farmland. I mean, when I grew up out there, out here, it was just really all farmland. And now, literally, like right in the middle of farmland, they just cut like acres. I think it's 1,000 acres, and then there's another 1,000 acres going in behind it. Mixed use developments, hotels. I heard 30 hotels are going in. What I read in the newspaper between basically where I live and Intel. So the fact that active listings and new listings continue to be so poor here will certainly affect the prices, because there's just a ton of demand here now and coming even more so. And I just heard this morning that the project was expanded from 20 to 28 billion dollars with the Intel plant. So demand is going to keep going up, and there's no inventory. And now home builders, which this part I'm confused about, but home builders are actually dialing back the amount of building and permits that they're taking out and starts here with new construction because of interest rates. That's actually, it was just an article in the newspaper. So in the local fish wrap, they say, hey, new interest rates are crushing building in Columbus, and home builders are dialing it back, which I don't understand. Like, you would think there would be, like, I guess it's hard to justify and higher interest rates for maybe future appreciation, but the demand's coming, or if it's not here already, it will be here soon. And so I don't understand why the supply, they don't build more houses. There's a lot of land to build on, that's for sure. All right, homes sold. So we're just slightly under last year with homes sold. So in Columbus, we're actually starting to, sell more homes, and that's because pending listings are starting to accelerate, because there is a small increase in new and active listings. So hopefully as that inventory comes on, this will increase. But yeah, it's going to have to really accelerate the inventory. Otherwise, we're going to be in a horrible situation with prices in a year or so. All right, so that's Columbus stuff. Look at one more thing here. Let's look at months of supply. You'll see what I mean on this. So months of supply is 9.3 weeks. That is 2.3 months. And nationally, we're at 3.3 months. So we're definitely in a seller's market here in Columbus still. Definitely a seller's market. Not much progress from last year. We were at 2.1 months last year at this time. So not much progress at all. Yep, it's going to have to get a lot better if we want prices to moderate in Columbus. Need a lot more inventory. All right, let's go to the let's do this real quick. We're going to do investor purchases next. So this is from Redfin as well. I kind of kept everything for the most part until the very end of this live. We'll use Redfin data, and you can come here as well and go into your actual market. But this shows you the share of investor purchases in the United States, and I'll make this bigger, but it's telling, because investors, if they're big, like they own 1,000 or more houses, let's say single family houses, the figure is around 2% of the total market share that they own. But when you look at smaller investors and you lump those folks in, people who maybe just own one investment property, it's obviously a lot larger. So of the houses that were sold in Q4 of 2023, 18% of them, this is nationally, 18% were bought by investors. 18%. And comment below, I'd love to know, what do you think about investors buying houses like this? I mean, is this good, bad? Are you an investor? Maybe you are. I'm an investor, so you can throw rocks at me if you want, but I certainly don't, own 1,000 single family houses. But let's go to, so this is national, but before we do go to Columbus, let's look at this, which is investor share. Oh, come on. Investor share by category. This is pretty interesting. So this shows us by category, single family residential. So if I click this, 18% of single family residential purchases were by investors. Now, if I go to multifamily, that's 2 to 4 units, that's 32%. Townhouse, what's that? 18% on townhouses and condos, 19%. So it gives you, different categories of who's buying, or I'm sorry, what assets they're buying. But this part I thought was the most important, this price tier part. So and they don't show this locally. They only show it nationally. I wish they showed it locally because I'd love to know different markets. But this tells us what percentage of people, what percentage of the market share are low price, mid price, or high price properties. I couldn't find how they define the low, mid, or high price. I assume it's like the lowest third of the median price range. I'm sorry, the lowest third of houses sold, maybe the median part of houses sold. So if or the middle part and then the high part. So they divide it up by 3 sections. Maybe they do that. But the investor market share of low priced homes is 26%. The investor market share. And what's more is the share of purchases. So what are they buying? They're buying low priced homes. 47% of their purchases are low priced homes. That's not surprising, obviously. I mean, it's hard to make a high priced home cash flow. It just is. It's getting easier with rent going up, but very hard to do that usually. But let's go back to investor market share and then look at the fact that this has just, it went down right after COVID, but then it shot way up and rebounded. But it's steadily gone up since 2000. So a lot of people think, in the last couple of years, last 4 years, investors bought all this market share. But it's actually been going up for a while, right? They've been buying low price houses for a long time. But important disclaimer here before somebody shoots me or gets really mad. Just because you see investors buying low priced homes doesn't mean that they're homes that people want. Most people want. And I'll give you an example. So I'm flipping a house right now that when I purchased the home, I purchased it for, I will say the exact number, but it was not a lot of money. It was under $50,000, which now it's a pretty good deal usually on a single family house. And my goal was to flip it. But it was completely decrepit. It had rats in it. It had raccoons. It had tons of dog urine. And I thought I would spend 80 grand and I am up to like 120. I mean, so my point is just these low priced homes. When you see these stats, a lot of people think, investors buying up all of our inventory. The average person can't buy it, but I can assure you a lot of the investors are purchasing houses, at least the people I know, are purchasing houses that nobody wants anyway. They take $100 and some $1,000 in work and they're completely nasty. You can't live in them. They may be on the verge of being torn down or on the way to being torn down, right? So I think a lot of those low price purchases could be houses and properties that just need a ton of rehab. And about everything I purchase needs a ton of work. So I rarely, in fact, I've never bought anything that you don't have to put at least $10,000 into, at least. Usually it's more like 50. So anyway, in Columbus and in a lot of areas of the country, there's older inventory from like the early 1900s, and that inventory needs rehabbed, right? You got a ton of deferred maintenance. You've got, old wiring, old plumbing, old roofs, old windows. Actually, a lot of the old slate roofs are really good, but old windows, old heating systems, outdated cosmetics. So about every part of the house you can think of hasn't been touched in decades. And so you buy that house for $50,000. That's considered a low price house, but you have to put 100 grand into it. So it's like, I think you just have to think about that past the numbers. Investors aren't necessarily ruining the low price tier. I would say they're more affecting like the mid price tier, in my opinion, because those houses are probably more move-in ready, and versus something that's, decrepit. All right. So last part of this live um, is we're going to jump into this spreadsheet. So I am not an expert in this spreadsheet. In fact, I pulled it up. Oops, let me show you. I pulled it up just before this live because I had a viewer ask where the most declining houses are, or markets are in the United States, the most declining housing markets. Sorry, I'm just reading a couple of the comments there. Oh, well, I got to show this. I assume he's talking about Jason Walter. He's saying you both do a great job of breaking down the data. I appreciate it. Thank you. He's like a CPA though, too. So I've heard him say that. So he's like super smart and great at analyzing data. Oh, yeah, you're talking about Intel. Going to be the crown jewel. Yes, it will be. It will be. It's not even close to anything that's been constructed here before. And I grew up here in the area, and I've lived out west in California and Seattle too, and so I see, see the different economies of scale there. But yeah, this project is it's going to change everybody's life here forever. And a lot of people are super scared. A lot of family members of mine are scared, and they want to leave town. They want to move because they don't know what's coming. And I don't think anybody can predict it, but it's going to be way different than what we expect. One more comment. Oh, the bulldozer on the house. Yep. A lot of houses, you may have to take a bulldozer too. I contemplated it and just selling the land, but at the end of the day, the house got saved, and I think it'll be a nice house for a family, or maybe a hunter or something wants to buy it. I don't know. It's out in the middle of the country. So if you look at a map, you can find Crooksville, Ohio. It's Crooksville, Ohio. They're known for their ceramics, and it's a town in the middle of nowhere, but good people, and they need good affordable housing. All right. Anyway, let's get to. So thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. Oh, okay. You baited me into putting another one up here. A first-time home buyer isn't going to be able to get a mortgage on a house needing that much rehab. Right. Exactly right. Like there are programs, and that's the crazy thing. There are programs as first-time home buyers that you can participate in. One is called a 203K loan, and that loan's fantastic for buying a house and rehabbing it. And they give you they loan you the money. It's an FHA backed loan that they'll loan you the money to improve the house, fix it, repair it the way you want to, and have it ready for the lender to approve. And so they give you the money to do that. The challenge with that is it requires a higher down payment, and it's a process, and not every lender is good at it. A lot of lenders don't like them because there is a big process there with them. But those do exist. And even conventional loans, there's a lot of conventional loans that will allow you to put money into the property. But it's not easy to do. It's not something a lot of people want to take the time to do. So it is possible, but it's definitely not the conventional way of doing things. And I think a lot of people will just run to the easy thing, which is a move-in ready house, unfortunately. All right. So we'll look at this data now. This is a spreadsheet that I got from a guy named Lance Lambert at Resi Club. And I'm sharing the information here, but this is a paid subscription to get this data. But he gives you a 20-year history in 5-year increments. And then he gives you year over year and month over month. He also gives you since a shift since the March 2022, since the peak in 2022, and down from the peak. So this spreadsheet essentially gives you all housing market prices and increases for the last 20 years. And it's pretty robust. I'm not 100% versed in it. I just was able to download it and put it into a table to sort it. But Coors Light wanted to know the top declining markets. So let's look at month over month. Well, we don't want that. We want the smallest. All right, there you go. So I sorted by month over month. This is January to February 2020. Wait, let me just make sure I got this right. I don't want to miss. So this is year over year, actually. I'm just looking at the data. It says month over month. I wonder if it's supposed to be 2024 here. I'm guessing it is. I think it's a misprint. So assuming that that's right, this is a month over month change. So from January 2024 to February of 2024, if you look, I sorted by the states and the areas that have the largest. This is a metro area look. It's not a state, but it shows us who's declining the most. And this is month over month. If I look at year over year, we'll do that. So this is year over year. So this column all the way to the left is the actual ranking of the metro. So you can see here, they look at, I don't know how many metros are in here, maybe 1,000. But if I look at year over year change, most of these areas are tiny areas, right? They're in the 400s, 700s rankings. Here's New Orleans looks like it's maybe there. 7% decline in New Orleans. That's year over year, February to February. And let me know, is this what you're looking for? Coors Light? Is this what you're looking for? I'll come back and check in a second. Oh, yes, thank you. Okay. But you want to know the top 5 declines, the most declines. I mean, the most declines, I guess the problem here is if you're looking at median sale price, like in Redfin, if you're thinking about that, areas that are increasing more, are bigger, I guess, state like ranking wise. If they're increasing, they're going to outdo the areas that are no, because we're talking about median. So it'd just be lining them all up. So yeah, this is a kind of a good exercise. Here's 29, Austin, Texas, down 5% year over year. This would be interesting though. Let's do this. Let's go state rank smallest to largest. So the rank, we've got, this actually tells us where if you look at the biggest markets, what they're doing. So you got New York. I mean, these are all up. Look at this. Wow. I mean, we kind of knew that from Redfin, right? Redfin said only one major market declined. And this is Zillow data, by the way. You can see it down here. You could probably hear my dogs or my one dog. Wow. I mean, all these are up basically. I mean, pretty much all these are up. I mean, look at this. I mean, you really have to, there's not a lot of them. They're spread out, but in the top, what's that? Top 23, top 20, nobody. And then let's look at the average. I'm curious there. You got me thinking Coors Light. Let's look at the top 20. Average of 5.18 in the top 20 metros. What does that mean? I don't know. I just sometimes like to look at data that's different than other data that we get. So I guess, I mean, so in the top 20 metros, up 5%. Nationally, we're up 5%. It kind of makes sense, right? You get the biggest players up 5. If anybody's on right now and wants to ask a question about this data, please do. And if you don't want to ask, that's okay too. Anyway, some really interesting info here. I'm going to dive into the spreadsheet more. That I will say before I go, this other part here is really cool. This shows you the different shifts, right? Each year, the shift. And so 20-year shift. All right, guess below. There's an insane amount of people watching this right now on YouTube. No, just kidding. Just 2 people. I think one of them may be me. But let's guess, where are the largest 20-year shifts? Any idea? Going once, going twice. Where the largest 20-year shifts? Whoops, not enough data. Well, that's not going to help us. Let's go. Let's do this. Huh. I wonder why that won't sort it. Not enough data, huh? That's not fun. Do any of it? Okay, here we go. Largest 20-year shift. I guess there's not a lot of data in some of these markets that are really small. Prineville, Oregon. Prineville. Never heard of it. Never been there. Prineville, Oregon, 306%. 20-year shift. They take this top spot. Never would have guessed that. Kapaa, Hawaii. Must be an expensive spot. So in 20 years, house prices have increased 281%. Can you imagine if they increased the amount that we saw over the last 4 years? Like, if that was normal, then houses would be like $4 million or something, like average houses, right? Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Okay. Steamboat Springs, Colorado. So these metros are the largest increases in the last 20 years. Ontario, Oregon. Edwards, Colorado. Look at that. 238%. All right, now let's find out where they've declined the most in 20 years. This is strange. It's not giving me. Oh, okay, here we go. Shreveport, Louisiana. Over a 20-year time period, 20% increase in values over a 20-year period. Macomb, Illinois. Okay. Wonder why Illinois. 21%. So obviously, best was 300, worst 20%. Look down here, anything down here that. Decatur, Illinois, Johnsonville, PA, Columbus, Indiana, Hammond, Louisiana is on here. Yeah, so I guess these areas just haven't grown that much. Let's do a couple other things here since I have this data open. Let's look at shifts since 2000. Let me expand this column. And I apologize if you're still on here or you're watching it afterwards and you're like, why is this guy silent, not talking or not doing anything? But just looking at this data, and I've only looked at this a few times, but it's interesting to review with you guys live. Since March of 2020. So this would be basically since the pandemic. Let's find out here. Since the pandemic. And I can't freeze this column. It's giving me fits when I try to freeze it. 77% is number one, and that is Clewiston, Florida. I don't know. Know anything about Clewiston. Jackson, Wyoming. Now that's a nice place. I mean, I've been there. Jackson, Wyoming's nice. But Clewiston, Florida may be nice too. I don't know. Kalispell, Montana. Wow. Edwards, Colorado. Steamboat Springs. They were on the, I think, the top 20 list, or the top list for 20 year over year. I'm sorry, 20-year shift as well. Naples, Florida. Huh. So that's where home values have increased the most since 2020. Let's figure out where they've gone down the most. This is fun. Cleveland, Mississippi. Okay. Greenville, Mississippi. Hobbs, New Mexico. DeRuyter, Louisiana. Hope I said that right. Helena, Arkansas. Pecos, Texas. Alice, Texas. All these down the most since basically the pandemic. But there aren't many that are down. Look at that. I mean, of all the metros they cover, I guess there's some too with like maybe not enough information, but this is 20 out of the, what is that, 26? Only 26 are down since the pandemic. Okay. Now, people talk about this all the time. There's a guy on YouTube who's always like preaching about the peak. And he's always talking about how prices may have gone up recently, but they're still way off from the peak. So I don't know. Let's find out. Actually, let's do lowest first. Shift since the peak in 2022. Down 39%. Pecos, Texas. Let's see how many are down from the peak. Wow, a lot. I mean, look at all these metros that are down since the peak. There's probably a better way to do this, but I'm just lazy and like to see it tally up. Wow, look at how many. Look at that. There's a lot. It's kind of neat to see that, right? Well, I'll just go up here and sort of small or largest to smallest. So obviously not near as many. So who's up most since the peak? 13%. Oxford, Mississippi. That's strange because I see a lot of Mississippi areas that are down, down a lot year over year, and even since 2020. Statesboro, Georgia. Dodge City, Kansas. Trenton, New Jersey. Up. Look at that. No surprise. I see a lot of New Jersey on here, a lot of Northeast, Connecticut, New Jersey, Georgia. There's that Clewiston, Florida again. New Haven, Connecticut. See a lot of Northeast. Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Interesting. I just saw a Manitowoc crane on that Intel job site. So they make the big cranes there in Manitowoc, I thought. Actually, they may make them out in Oregon. I don't know. All right. Interesting data. So, man, if you look at shift since, now let's look at this. Down from peak. Down from peak, percentage equals at an all-time high. Okay. So all these, I guess, are right now at an all-time high, meaning all these are at an all-time high right now. Yeah, you can see the list oftentimes are on that Redfin report. But here, this will tell us who is down the most from the peak. Oops. Okay. So all these right here, this is how much they're down from the peak. They don't say when the peak was. They just say, because here in column R, they're saying shift since 2022 peak. But here it's just from the peak. Yeah, because like this one right here is down 38% from the peak, but down 29% from the 2022 peak. And that's Clarksdale, Mississippi. Huh. Anyway, ask them questions, You can hit me up anytime. I'm going to do this again next Thursday, probably when the Redfin update comes out. But I appreciate you joining me. If you did, or if you watch this later, comment below. Tell me what you want to see. I think that Lance Lambert chart is fantastic. I mean, that gives you some insight that you just don't see anywhere else. And so I encourage you to go check out his site, and the link's in my description below. And subscribe to my channel. Give me a like for the video. This is a long one, but we covered a lot. So pending sales, new listings, active listings, mortgage applications, tours. Things are just buzzing, right? The spring's going, flowers are coming up, all that stuff. And I think people are starting to get back out in the marketplace and buy and sell some real estate. So anyway, thank you again for joining me. I enjoy doing these. This is fun. And have a great weekend. Talk to you next week. Oh, before I go, it's not going to hurt anything. Coors Light guessed Los Angeles. I'm assuming in the markets that grew the most in the last 20 years. Yeah, I would have I thought Los Angeles too, but what was the name of that place again? I'm going to go back and look at it. This is fun. I don't have to be so formal as I do my other videos. Let's go back. Pineville, right. Forgot about that. Pineville, Oregon. I got to remember that. Pineville, Oregon. Anyway, all right. You guys have a good day. See ya.